My next guest is Isabel Casillas Guzman, the Small Business Administrator, which represents more than 30 million U.S. small businesses. Welcome, Administrator Guzman, and happy Women's History Month.
Yes, thanks for having me. Happy Women's History Month.
Yes. Well, thank you for taking the time. I want to start with your background. I know that you grew up in a family that had a small business, and then you later started your own small business. So, I would love to hear how, how did that background and that experience shape you as a woman leader leading the Small Business Administration?
Yes, well, yeah, I definitely grew a passion for small businesses, working in my dad's hospitals, seeing him interact with customers. Everybody who walked through that door was such an important part of his business and ultimately, my family and a part of our community. And, having an entrepreneurial spirit with that passion for what you're doing, but also that hard work ethic and grit and determination. I think those things are what I saw him performing every day, and really managing so many different tasks, to having to be flexible and agile. And I think those skills just carried through my whole life and really built my passion for working with small businesses, advising founders, starting my own businesses as well.
Yeah, and I would love to hear about some of the initiatives the Small Business Administration is putting forth that would empower all small business owners. But since we are here talking about women, how it would empower women business owners as well.
Oh, I love that question too, because when we think about entrepreneurship today, well, the face of entrepreneurship is changing. It is actually women who are starting businesses at the highest rates. And so it's very appropriate during Women's History Month that we talk about entrepreneurship as really a pathway to prosperity, a pathway to building wealth for families and communities. And we see so many women taking that leap. And the Biden-Harris administration in particular wants to ensure that there are support products and services to ensure that our entrepreneurs, regardless of background, can have greater success outcomes. The president talks about building an economy that works for everyone, or building an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, which really is a startup. That's a bootstrap small business from my perspective. And our female entrepreneurs, as well as all of our entrepreneurs who face historic barriers that we saw laid out during the pandemic, really need to make sure that we're working hard to fill gaps in access. So gaps in access to funding. We know that women don't get the investment levels that their male counterparts do. And so we want to make sure the SBA has capital products, loans, investments, grants through the innovation research grants in the federal government, as well as networks to support them in their journey of entrepreneurism.
Yeah, and you said a key word there, invest. And a lot of other interviews I've done for the series, I've asked women leaders, how do we invest in women? Because it seems that that's sort of the key here, whether you're talking about business or politics or the military. It's all about investing in women so they have the appropriate infrastructure to thrive in these fields. So when it comes to businesses, how can they invest in women going forward?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I mean, women are represented in so many industries across the board, and we've seen a historic boom in small businesses. New business applications were 10.4 million in the president's first 2 years. It's 84% higher than historic records, which just basically means a lot of people are seeking those opportunities or seeking to pursue that great idea that they've had for quite some time. And for women entrepreneurs, we want to make sure that they have the skills to have that confidence, to have a growth mindset, to be able to ensure that they're, looking to not only, work their business every day in their business, but work on their business to make sure it can grow and foster. So we've expanded our networks. The American Rescue Plan funded an expanded network of navigators and, of course, our incredible women's business centers to give them that added skill set to make sure that they can succeed in the marketplace and connect them to capital. Make sure that they know that there are lenders out there that are there to provide them funding, and especially women who are getting started, or they may have those needs for smaller dollar loans. We had seen a decline in small dollar loans previously, and so we want to make sure that the SBA is fixing its capital programs to meet businesses where they are with that initial funding. And I know there's some incredible stories, but women who started with that first SBA loan to then grow their business through federal contracting or exports, or through our great technical assistance programs. And that's what we're committed to, replicating those successes.
Yeah, yeah. And you're also a Latina leader in this sector. And we know that Latina-owned businesses are some of the fastest growing in this country. I think according to the National Women's Business Council, they've seen a growth of 87%, more than that, since 2007. Talk about that growth and what we can expect to see from Latina-owned businesses. It seems like there's a bright future on the horizon for them.
That's right. The women of color are starting
Yes.
businesses amongst that changing face of entrepreneurship at the highest rates within that category. And Black and brown women in particular have been leading on those entrepreneurship rates, for over a decade. And the community is highly entrepreneurial, of course. But in addition, I think what's important to note is that they'll face an added layer of barriers as there are inequities that the people of color face in addition within our capital markets, within our networks. And so, again, it's about investing. We need to invest in the entrepreneurs who are starting and going to be creating the jobs of the future. And so we are focused on equity and making sure that our programs are accessible to all. And that means meeting our businesses where they are, having a technology to make sure that they're accessing digital markets, or being able to export and take advantage of their language or cultural connection to markets abroad, and get into federal contracting. But I think, for our Latina entrepreneurs, for all of our women entrepreneurs out there, it's recognizing that the SBA at sba.gov is here to help you with your business and figure out those skills that you need to strengthen and teach them to you so that you can grow your business successfully.
So when we make the case to invest in women, what would you say sets female entrepreneurs apart from their male counterparts? What do women bring to the table?
Well, we know that diverse teams succeed, and so across the board, they have strong outcomes. We see that in numerous studies, but obviously when women bring to the table, and we know some of their skill sets are they've had to persevere, they've had to have great resilience. I just discussed this with a few founders, and balancing their families, sometimes children, knowing how to continue to pursue their dreams, and doing it on behalf of their family members, trying to better the lives for their children and their future. Oftentimes a great motivator, but clearly they collaborate and work in teams, and really bring a unique skill set that is understanding this massive marketplace of women who are the ones who oftentimes control the purse strings in households and are the ones buying. And so they come with a unique insights into what women want, and they're making the products and delivering the services that are meeting those needs and having great success in the marketplace.
So my final question to you is, what advice would you give to a young woman who is starting her career, maybe wants to start a small business in a hopefully soon to be post-pandemic world? It seems like we're headed in that direction, in an economy where there is some concern about inflation in the future ahead. What would your advice be to that young woman?
To that young woman, whatever that startup is, but as well to all the existing businesses.
Yes.
A couple things. I mean, the president is investing in America, making sure that there's opportunities, whether that's in manufacturing, supply chain, and innovation and R&D. We want America to continue leading globally across sectors of innovation, including in the clean energy space. And so the historic investments in the Inflation Reduction Act and clean energy, or the Chips and Science Act, will definitely advance that, as well as the opportunities for contracts and broadband as we rebuild our infrastructure. across the nation. So I see great opportunities on the horizon for all of our entrepreneurs. What I would say is really important is that as we're navigating and trying to build resilience businesses, making sure that you're focused on a strong balance sheet and understanding your financials and making sure you have a strong marketing plan to build your revenues. And these are all skill sets that we teach through our network of advisors, our Women's Business Center network across the country to help entrepreneurs position themselves for success and go after those opportunities and know that there's a free network of advisory services at the SBA that are made just for you to help grow your business.
Yeah, I want to clarify that you don't have to be a young woman to start a business. You can be any age. The world is your oyster. Administrator, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.